welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be going over a cleansing and protective floor wash. So this is basically a magical mop water that we're going to be using to clean our floors, whatever type of floors that you use to actually mop. And it's going to cleanse away all negativity and add a protective basically ward around your house. I do have a version of this for the carpets, and I'll do that in a later video, but for now this is just for mopping purposes. So you're going to prepare this the way that you normally prepare your mop water, but we're not going to be using any type of cleansers. The things that I have in here are cleansing, are natural cleansers, and you don't actually have to use any chemical cleansers. So go ahead and prepare your mop water the way that you normally do. You want the water to be as hot as you can possibly stand. Depending on your mop, whether you're going to be touching it or not, I don't know. Depending on your floor surface, if you got linoleum, obviously you don't want to have it, boiling hot. But whatever, as hot as you can get it to where it's going to be appropriate for your floors. Then you're going to add, and this amount is for a full house. If you have several rooms in your house that are rooms that you mop, so this is the appropriate size for that. So like my house, I have a kitchen, I have a long hallway, and I have an entryway that need mopped. And the rest of the house is carpet. So this is about the amount I would use for that size of house, or that size of rooms and surfaces. So you're going to need 1/4 cup of baking soda, and you're going to put that in your water. You're going to use 1/4 cup of white vinegar. I would not use apple cider vinegar because it can leave your floor sticky. Regular vinegar won't do that. So you put that in your water. You're going to use 1 tablespoon of dish liquid. So whatever you wash your dishes with. So 1 tablespoon of that into the water. And then for the herbs that I'm going to give you, you can either use the dried version of the herb and put them in a reusable tea bag, or maybe like a washcloth that you put the herbs in the middle and then tie it shut. Something that's not going to release the herbs. If you have reusable tea bags, you can make reusable tea bags out of scrap muslin to the appropriate size, and then you just reuse it over and over again every time you mop your floor and you make this wash. But if you're going to be using the real herbs, you'll want to put it in something so it's not going to get into the water, because otherwise you're going to smear that all over your floors and you're going to have to go back and wash them again. But if you're using the essential oil version, you don't have to do that, which is much simpler, and it's going to make everything smell nice anyway. So you're going to use rose. If you're using the herb version, I would use the petals. I wouldn't necessarily use the thorns or the stems. I would definitely use the petals. And the next one is orange. If you're going to be using the orange, I would definitely use a dried version of the orange. So if you have a leftover orange that you've dehydrated and then you keep it in your apothecary, I would use that. I wouldn't necessarily use a fresh orange that you just cut, but you can if that's all you have. Orange is my primary herb for cleansing, especially when it's house cleansing. So you don't want to skip it, but if it's all you got to make is a fresh version, then go ahead and use that. But keep in mind it might make your floor sticky, and you may have to go back over it again with just regular water and wash it again. And then the last herb is cinnamon. So cinnamon is a very protective herb. I would use cinnamon bark instead of, or cinnamon sticks instead of actually like powdered version, because it'll get in the water and then make your floors gritty. But if you're using the essential oil, then each one of these oils, I would probably put 5 to 10 drops. We don't want to overload it. We're just adding that intention. And then before you start washing your floors, you want to go ahead and enchant your mop water with cleansing and protection and all of those things. So just spend a little time enchanting that water to do the cleansing away of all negativities and unwanted energies, and adding that protective ward to your home. So anything we do in magic has to have an intention behind it. So just keep that in mind. Even a simple floor wash still needs to have intention put into it. Otherwise, you're just adding herbs to water. They have their own, all herbs have their own intention, but if you're not telling it that it needs to do that for this specific reason, then it's just herbs and water. You're basically making tea mop water. So always keep that in mind. You have to set your intention for the purpose of the spell work. So after you've enchanted your water, then you're just gonna mop your floors the way you normally do. Mop it. You could start at the back of the house, or if you have rooms upstairs that have to be mopped, start at the top, and you have a second floor, you start at the top and then work your way down from the back to the front. And the last place you should mop is your front door. That's just, we're cleansing out the energies that we don't want. And I always just kind of open the front door, and kind of energetically push those energies outside. So just keep that in mind as you're mopping. If it's not feasible for you, then just do it however you do it. And the intention should be enough. But I always like to give it an exit for the energies I don't want to leave my house. Same thing if you're like smoke cleansing, or any other type of cleansing. It's kind of the same actions you're doing. You start at the top, work your way from the back to the front. So then after you're done, you can just dispose of the water and everything else, however it is that you normally do it. If you're using, like I said, a reusable tea bag, you'll want to wash that and then put it away for the next time that you're going to do this. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. A house really needs a energetic cleansing at the minimum once a month. If you can do it once a week, that would be great. But if you can't, then once a month should be good enough to kind of keep those energies going and keep that protective ward up. Obviously, this is not your only protective ward, but it does help. And every layer of protection you can add makes your ward that much stronger. Just think of it as a brick wall. Your brick wall is getting thicker and thicker, and nobody can get in because your protective ward is so layered, and it has all of these elements to it that no one or nothing can get through because it's so thick. Think of a castle wall. Castle walls have many, many layers thick, to keep the bad guys from breaking through. And that's kind of the same. Keep that in mind. That's what we're doing when we're doing protections. We want to add as many protections as we possibly can to keep the bad things from getting through. And the more protections you have, the harder it is. So that's just a little side note. And obviously cleansing. We don't want those negative energies in our home. That's just more crap that we have to deal with, and it affects our daily lives, and it's just, we don't need it. So I hope this was useful for you guys, and I will see you next time. Bye.